Hello, welcome to this webinar on the topic of a healthy and balanced academic writing lifestyle. How does it work? Do you have a healthy, balanced writing lifestyle? These days, everyone's talking about, we have to be healthy, we have to, you know, keep fit so that we can, function well as a human being. So, as we are in a university, in academic writing is very important for us. One of the reasons is because the end result of our studies, whether you are studying bachelor or master, would be a long piece of academic writing work called the thesis paper. So, how fit are you, in writing? Are you ready now to write a piece of paper with confidence? Are you like this guy who's really happy and he's well prepared? He has not a lot of issues with writing and he knows what to do. He knows how to cite, he knows what kind of referencing style he is going to use, he knows what are the materials, and he knows, he has practiced enough, so he has a handful of good vocabulary to help him to express himself. Or are you like this guy who is not 100% well prepared, and he's still missing some skills that he need? Or are you like him, this little guy here, who is still feeling that, oh, I'm still not prepared, I still have so much to do? Academic writing life should be balanced. There is an input and there's an output. So for example, if you ask a guy or a girl, who is quite fit and is quite muscular, toned armed, when you see them showing off their toned arm, you ask them, how often do you, train yourself to look so well and healthy? Do you eat healthy? Do you do something? Do you think that they would say, well, no, I was born like this. I was born with great muscles, so now my muscles are like this, Or do you think they will answer you in such a way where they say they go so and so many times to the gym to work out for so and so long? It's the same with having good writing skills. You should have it balanced. You should have reading. Now you might be saying, but Elizabeth, we're here talking about academic writing. What is that got to do with reading? Well, it's very important that you have reading when you're practicing your writing, because reading is the input, excuse me, and writing is the output. If you want to have good muscle building, you don't have to be all this Mr. Universe or Miss Universe or Mrs. I don't know the title of this title, but I know Mr. Universe means they are showing off their big muscles. But if you ask your friend who goes to the gym, you ask them, do you just go and exercise, or is there something that you do as well? Well, the output is usually, going to the gym and exercise, doing so and so many reps per time, per week. And the input, if they want good results, they will eat healthy, they will take in good proteins so that they have enough energy to produce and have the outcome they want. So it's the same basic idea. You have to have enough reading so that you have good inputs, and then you need to do an output, which is writing. So you are now thinking, how can I have this balanced writing life? At the moment, I think a lot of our students here is having issues balancing it, and they are doing, balancing act like this, where you do have a bit of input of reading, and you have a bit of writing, And the writing is usually, oh, one term paper per semester. But that's not enough. I'm sure you know that. And if you don't know that, now you know that because I just told you. Yeah. When you have too much reading and not enough writing, this will happen. Yeah? Too much reading plus not enough writing, you will have an imbalanced written work. What does this mean? This means your paper that you hand in is not the paper that you wish it could be. Something is missing. Your skills, your writing skills that you have do not allow you to be good in some ways to express some ideas. So it's a little bit imbalanced. Some students would say, well, that's fate, that's how it is. And I would say, it doesn't have to be like this. Why do you put up with something like this when you can correct it? A balanced academic writing lifestyle can be easily achieved. Yeah? So, and I'm going to tell you about it now. You need to know first, reading and writing, they go hand in hand. Yeah, so when there's an input, there's an output, there's hand in hand. And that's the key. And that's way, if you do this, then you are already balancing your writing lifestyle quite well. When you read, follow some of these steps, because these steps will allow you to read really well, where you can benefit a lot as a student, and from there you can write what you have read. So these are the 3 basic steps to better reading. And you get more from the reading besides just reading. Yeah. A lot of you are just reading because you need to or you have to. Most of the time you read not because you want to. Okay, so a lot of these are very challenging for you. So these 3 basic steps will help you. The before, the during, and the after. Let me ask you a question, and then after the, well, actually 3 questions. And after the 3 questions, I want you to pause this video and answer it yourself. What do you usually do before you begin your reading? And what do you usually do during your reading? And what do you usually do after you read a piece of material? Pause the video and answer these 3 questions now. Okay, welcome back. Now you don't have to tell me what it is because I'm not here to see it. I can't see it, but you can later compare the tips that I have given you and see what are some of the steps and tips that you like to adopt to your current reading strategies. Let's look at the before. When you are going to read something, before you just plunge yourself into page 1, page 2, up to page 300, whatever pages that's required for you to read, read the title. Think about the title. Read the table of content if there's table of content from books. If there's none, read about the author, read the abstract. And if it's an academic book, excuse me, or academic journals and articles, they usually have also reference lists, and see what kind of books this author, had read before they started to produce this piece of work that you're going to read. Ask yourself, what do you want to learn from this reading material you have in front of you, based on what you have sort of observed from the title and all that. And then ask some questions. Yeah. Ask about 3 or 4 questions. Don't have to have a list of it. 3 or 4 is enough. And then here, when you start asking questions, the start of critical thinking will begin, because you have asked good questions and you hope that you will find an answer in this reading allows you, first of all, to concentrate well in what you're reading, to look out for important materials so that important information, so that this information would answer your questions. And to ask questions as well. Why is this material not answering my questions? Yeah, am I asking, irrelevant questions, or is this material actually totally different from what I thought it was based on the title, and so on and so forth? But when you ask questions and you write the questions down, you begin to write good strategic questions. And that's a very important thing to have. So plunge yourself into the reading. And as you read, you would make notes, highlight some ideas. Perhaps you ask new questions because you have new things that you've encountered while you read, and you have new questions. And also learn from the author, the style of writing, how they use the words, because they really think about how they want to send their message to their readers. And it's good. They are your indirect teacher as well. And here you are cultivating self-teaching and self-learning. And from here you can respond to your reading as you read and you make notes by writing short notes, not just notes like, oh, good idea, but good idea because, and extend it a little bit. Interesting point because, disagree, why or why not? So make good notes. You also pick up some interesting words that you think, oh, I can use this word as well because this author, express it in such a way that I totally understand this idea. So perhaps I can also use this word to express my writing as well. And after you've read, you reflect on what you have read by giving comments. Not from the notes are notes, but giving comments. It is a good piece of reading because which questions were answered, reflected. My first question was answered, the question was this, blah blah blah, and where can I find this particular material to answer? Actually, it's in page 4, blah blah blah. And do you have new questions? You can say, oh, after reading chapter 4, I actually do have 3 more new questions, and the 3 questions are so on and so forth. It's always good to write them all down. You might say, oh, but Elizabeth, I will remember everything. I don't think you will remember everything that you have read, even last semester. So it's always good to respond from your reading via writing. First of all, it's good writing. You are practicing writing, even though it's just a short note. Second of all, when you write your idea, all your ideas out, you have already recorded physically in your PC or in your notebook. And if you were to forget, you have it somewhere recorded, and that's really good. So now let's look at the comments. When you are commenting on the reading, you talk about how useful this material is, not, oh, it's good, oh, it's bad, and that's it. How useful it is to give you, the knowledge that you receive from this material, how useful it is for you to use in your life as a student. In-depth reflections. Talk about parts that answer your initial questions, and if questions were answered, discuss where and how it answered your questions, and if not, discuss how you're going to look into where or how you can get your questions answered. Should I search more material to read? And if I do, where should I find it? Talk to yourself via writing. You should also think of this comment section as a practice board where you practice short writings Yeah, so that you don't have to, discourage yourself by saying, oh, now I have to practice writing and I have to write 500 words. That's not very, very exciting, is it? So you use the comment section after you read, even though whether the reading is long or short, use this comment section to practice citations. Because you already know the author, you know the year, you practice it when you mention the author's work. Cite it right away. Or use the phrases and words that you've encountered in this reading right away. Because when you read and you practice, the things that you practice tend to stick to you longer. Use hedging. If you're not very good in paraphrasing, paraphrase. Lines and sentences that you've highlighted, and challenge yourself by saying, okay, I don't really want to comment today, so I'm going to practice paraphrasing, and then paraphrase, and plus, after you paraphrase, put a citation there. Do some quoting. Practice block quotations. As you know, our faculty uses 4 different referencing styles depending on what you're studying. The Harvard, the APA, the ASA, and the Oxford. And all 4 of them have different block quotations format. So if you know what format you're using, a Harvard style, then practice the block quotation Harvard style. Okay? And on days that you really don't want to read and you don't want to write, you've commented, go back to your past readings and the past comments. Maybe you have 5 comments already, and do proofreading. Do some sort of editing. It's also a very good skill to have. So this is why it's important that you are reading, because as you read, these little steps will help you to write little steps of writing. Now, you don't have to write a thesis paper every time you want to write for practice. You can practice little bit by little bit. Now I want to look at this during part, the 3rd point. Learn from the author, the style of writing, the words used. And from there, you probably would like to be like this guy, breakdancing. How to be word flexible. What does it mean by word flexible? It means that you're able to use a word and form this word in different forms and make it in different sentence structures without any challenge, because you're so familiar with the word. You can produce 4 different sentence structures with 4 different forms and still express the same thing. And that is the meaning of word flexible. To be able to have word flexibility, you need to also sometimes spend your time to expand your vocabulary. So on days you don't want to read, you don't want to write, and you've already read and written enough, you can do little activities like this to be word flexible yourself. I always use this particular website, but it comes in book form as well, the Thesaurus. A thesaurus allows me to find new words or similar meaning words, so that I do not need to always use the same word all the time to express myself in writing. That's the synonym. And of course, it's always good to know the antonym, which is the opposite meaning of that word. So the thesaurus can help you. So you can have just one day just looking at the thesaurus. That's it. And on next day, or the day that you really don't want to read or write, then you can work on categorizing words. As you know, we are writing academic writing. And academic writings, the language is a bit more formal. So see if you can categorize some of the words you've found from the thesaurus. Which word would be more suitable to use during the formal language, which is academic writing, and informal. And on days you have already done all this and you don't want to read new stuff, then you can work on this. Find different form of the word. Some words, maybe you found it and it's a noun, can also have a different form of a verb or of an adjective or an adverb. Find all of them out, because when it's in different form, it will allow you to make a sentence in different structure, and you are still be able to express this idea the same. Okay, and if you think that, oh, I don't know how to do that, go to your dictionary. Or if you don't want to use your thick book, because I do know you all, or most of you, have a dictionary with advanced dictionary, then go to the website dictionary.com. I like this website because it allows, it shows me the different form of a particular word I was looking for. So there you have it. They sound very long. The suggestions that I've given you sound really long and sound really tedious, but if you practice it very often, then it will work. Then you're able to balance your reading and writing, and you're heading towards the right path to a healthy writing life. And on top of all these that I've given you, before I end the video, I want to touch on the 3 P's: patience, practice, and produce. Okay, so when you have reading with all these 3 P's, and you have writing with all these 3 P's, you will then have a well-prepared work. And a well-prepared work would be a piece of work that has, you can see when a writer hand in a well-prepared work, you can tell this writer has a lot of good practice background for many years. Okay, and soon you will be like this guy. You're not only standing and balancing, you're breakdancing and balancing your academic writing lifestyle. So that's the end of my webinar. I hope you have gained some insight on how to have a better, healthy, balanced academic writing lifestyle. I hope you adopt some of my tips so that you can improve. That's a very good way to always self-teach and self-learn yourself as a university student. So good luck in your writing, and goodbye.